I never thought my life in the dusty outskirts of Tucson, Arizona, would turn into one of those Lifetime movies, full of secrets, lies, and a revenge plot that could make even the toughest cowboy tip his hat. But here I am, looking back on it all, wondering how I went from flipping burgers at our family barbecue to flipping the script on the man I thought I'd grow old with. My name's Laura Hayes, and this is how I uncovered my husband's double life, turned the tables, and found something stronger than hate: redemption. It started on a scorching summer morning in our ranch-style home on the edge of the Sonoran Desert. The sun was already baking the red earth outside, casting long shadows through the blinds onto our tiled kitchen floor. I was at the stove, whipping up huevos rancheros, Jack's favorite, with extra chorizo, just like I had for the past 18 years. The aroma mixed with the fresh brew from our old percolator, and the radio played some classic country tune about lost love. Irony, right? Jack shuffled in, his boots scuffed from the construction site he managed, dressed in his faded denim shirt and jeans. He pecked my cheek, quick, obligatory, like checking off a to-do list, and grabbed his thermos. Gotta run.
Hun.
Big bid on that new subdivision today, he muttered, eyes locked on his phone screen. I smiled, but it felt forced, like pulling on a too-tight boot. Lately, things have been off. Late nights at job sites, his phone buzzing at odd hours. And when I'd reach for him in bed, he'd roll away, mumbling about exhaustion. Our son, Tyler, was off at community college in Phoenix, studying engineering like his dad. It left the house quieter, giving me too much time to notice the cracks. That afternoon, while sorting laundry in our sunroom, surrounded by cacti pots and faded family photos, I fished a wrinkled receipt from Jack's jeans pocket. It was from the Red Rock Motel out near Saguaro National Park. 2 beers, a room key charge, and a smudge that looked suspiciously like cherry red lipstick. My stomach knotted up tighter than a lasso. This wasn't the first red flag, a stray earring in his truck, unexplained charges on our joint card, but this one hit different. I stared at it under the harsh desert light, willing it to be a mistake. It wasn't. I didn't break down right then. Instead, I tucked it into my old leather journal, hidden in the back of my nightstand. I'd learned resilience from growing up in this rugged land. Monsoons come and go, but you rebuild. That night, Jack came home late, smelling of cheap perfume mixed with sawdust. Rough day, he grumbled, avoiding my gaze as he headed for the shower. I nodded, playing along. But inside, a fire was kindling. The next day, while he was out, I fired up my laptop in our home office, a cramped space with maps of Arizona builds pinned to the walls. I searched signs of cheating spouse and how to gather evidence legally. Turns out, in Arizona, community property laws mean everything's split 50/50ths in a divorce. But you gotta prove fault if you want leverage. No-fault divorces are common, but infidelity can sway alimony or custody. I wasn't ready to file, but I wasn't going to be blindsided either. Over the following weeks, I turned into a desert detective. I acted normal, hosting neighborhood potlucks with my famous green chili stew, waving at folks from our porch swing. But secretly, I checked our bank app, mysterious withdrawals for supplies that never showed up at home. I even found a burner phone stashed in his toolbox in the garage, unlocked like he thought I was too dumb to look. Scrolling through, my hands shook, messages to Mia, full of hearts and promises. You're the spark I need, babe. Laura's just routine. Mia, his office assistant at the construction firm, barely out of her 20s, with that fake tan and endless selfies. How long? Why her? Rage bubbled. but I copied everything to a secure drive. One Friday, Jack claimed a client meetup in town. I kissed him goodbye, then tailed him in my old pickup, staying back on the winding desert roads. He pulled into the motel lot, and sure enough, Mia arrived in her flashy red Jeep, dolled up in a sundress. They embraced right there, under the neon sign.
Nos cham.
I snapped photos from across the street, my heart shattering like dry clay. 18 years building our home, surviving the recession when his firm nearly tanked, nursing him through that back injury. All for this? I whispered to myself. Not on my watch. Back home, I documented it all. Knowing Arizona's wiretapping laws meant I couldn't record without consent. But photos and texts, fair game. The confrontation came soon after. I placed the receipt on the kitchen counter one morning, next to his coffee. Care to explain? I asked, voice steady as a saguaro. Jack glanced at it, chuckled dismissively. Old work thing. You're imagining stuff, Laura. I held up my phone with the photos. His face paled. You followed me? That's crazy. Gaslighting, classic. He called me paranoid. Said I was overreacting due to empty nest syndrome. It stung. But I saw through it. We're done pretending, I said. He stormed out. But not before muttering. You'll regret this. That night, I opened a separate bank account at a credit union in Mesa, depositing savings from my part-time job at the local craft store. I consulted a lawyer,
Rito Gonzalez.
a no-nonsense family law expert in Tucson who'd handled messy divorces for friends. Document everything, she advised. Arizona's equitable distribution means we can argue for more if we prove dissipation of assets on the affair. I played the devoted wife a while longer, packing his lunches with notes, suggesting date nights under the stars. But behind closed doors, I gathered ammo, printed bank statements showing gifts to Mia, photos of hidden assets like his secret storage unit full of tools he'd sold. I even posed as a fake online friend to Mia on social media, learning she thought Jack was separated. The pieces fit. He was planning to leave, but on his terms, painting me as the unstable one. As the Arizona sun dipped lower each day, turning the sky into a canvas of oranges and purples, my plan solidified. I wasn't just hurt, I was strategic, like plotting a trail through the canyons to avoid flash floods. Jack's betrayal wasn't a one-off, it was a pattern, chipping away at our life like erosion on red rock. But I had the high ground now. One evening, while Jack was out working late, I rifled through his desk in our home office. Amid blueprints and invoices, I found a folder labeled Personal. Inside, draft divorce papers from a lawyer in Phoenix, dated weeks ago. He aimed to file first, claiming irreconcilable differences but hinting at my emotional volatility to snag more assets. In Arizona, no prenup meant everything: our house, his construction business, Tyler's college fund was up for grabs. He'd even noted plans to transfer funds to a hidden account. My blood boiled, but I photocopied it all, stashing copies in a safe deposit box. That's when I discovered the prenatal vitamins, tucked behind his computer. Label, Mia Torres. A quick online check as my fake profile confirmed it. She posted subtle hints about new beginnings. Pregnant. Jack wasn't just cheating, he was building a replacement family. It hit like a hubbub dust storm, blinding and choking. But instead of crumbling, I channeled it. I messaged Mia as Sophie, my alter ego, a new-in-town gal seeking friends. We bonded over DMs about desert hikes, margaritas, and life stresses. She spilled. Jack promised to leave me soon. Called me controlling and unstable. echoes of his gaslighting. I recorded our chats, legal in one-party consent Arizona, and built a dossier.
Rito.
My lawyer reviewed it. This shows dissipation, spending marital funds on the affair. We can seek reimbursement. We filed a motion for temporary orders, freezing joint accounts to prevent him draining them. Meanwhile, I kept up appearances, family barbecues with neighbors, where I'd laugh at Jack's jokes about tough bids. But inside, I was wiring my own explosives. The turning point came when I suggested meeting Mia in person as Sophie. Brunch at that cute spot in Old Tucson? She agreed. I arrived early at the adobe-walled cafe, heart thumping like a jackhammer.
In walked Mia.
Glowing in maternity jeans, her bump just showing. We hugged like old pals, ordered chilaquiles, chatted about everything from saguaro blooms to relationship woes. Then I steered. So, this guy you're seeing, serious? She beamed. Jack's amazing. Says he's filing soon. His wife's a nightmare. Always dramatic. I nodded sympathetically. Phone recording discreetly in my bag. Sounds tough. Hope he follows through. She confided more. Meetings with his lawyer. Promises of a new home in the suburbs. Driving back through the cactus-dotted landscape, I felt a mix of triumph and pity. Mia wasn't the enemy. She was duped. Just like me. But Jack? He was the snake in the boots. That night, a bank alert pinged, $50,000 withdrawn from our joint savings. Jack had moved fast, probably to fund his escape. Panic surged. But Rita was ready. We'd already frozen what we could. I confronted him calmly over dinner. Where's the money? He feigned innocence. Business investment.
Lies.
I showed the papers I'd found. His mask cracked. You snooped? You're insane. He stormed out. But I had it on video from a hidden cam legal in my own home. The next days blurred into action. Rita filed for divorce on grounds of adultery, attaching evidence. Arizona law allows fault-based claims to influence spousal support. We sought exclusive use of the house and temporary alimony. Jack lawyered up, countering with accusations of my harassment. But my proof was ironclad. Texts,
Photos.
financial trails. Meanwhile, I reached out to Mia anonymously via a burner email, hinting at Jack's deceptions with snippets of evidence. She went silent online, then showed up at my door one stormy evening. Rain rare in the desert but pounding like judgment. Laura?
I
know everything now. Tears streaked her face. He lied to me too. I let her in, wary but open. Over herbal tea at the kitchen table, overlooking our backyard with its mesquite trees, she broke down. He said you were abusive, that Tyler wasn't his. I believed him until the money vanished, and he ghosted me. We talked for hours, sharing stories of his manipulations. Turns out, he'd been juggling another fling. By dawn, an unlikely alliance formed. Let's expose him, I said. She nodded. For the baby and for us. We planned meticulously. Jack's firm was hosting a 15-year anniversary gala at a swanky resort in Scottsdale. Clients, investors, the works. Mia had access as his assistant. I compiled a digital bombshell, slideshow of fraud. He'd skimmed company funds for personal use, risking IRS scrutiny, affair proofs, and a video of his rants. In Arizona, white-collar crimes like embezzlement could lead to audits or charges. The night arrived, the ballroom aglow with string lights mimicking desert stars. Jack took the stage, toasting integrity and hard work. Mia signaled the AV guy. The screen flickered. Slides rolled. Bank transfers to offshore accounts. I tipped the IRS anonymously. A fair text. Even a clip of him berating me. Gasps echoed. Jack stammered.
Hack.
Fake. But the damage was done. Investors pulled out. His board chair demanded resignation. Security escorted him as whispers of lawsuits buzzed. Mia and I slipped out, hearts racing under the moonlit palms. "We did it," she whispered. I nodded, but a twinge of mercy hit. Revenge felt hollow without healing. In the aftermath of the gala, the desert winds seemed to carry whispers of change. Jack's world crumbled faster than a dry Arroyo bank, his firm investigated for fraud. Clients fleeing like jackrabbits. He moved into a rundown motel on the outskirts of Tucson, his assets frozen pending divorce. But as I sat on my porch, watching the sunset paint the Catalina Mountains gold, I realized destruction wasn't enough. There had to be growth, like wildflowers after rain. Mia and I stayed in touch, our bond forged in fire. She confided fears about raising the baby alone. I shared my loneliness post-Tyler leaving. "We don't have to hate each other," I told her over coffee at a local diner. Jack pitted us against one another. She agreed. And slowly, we brainstormed ways to turn pain into purpose. Rita guided the legal side. Arizona's community property split gave me half the business value, plus alimony since his infidelity and fraud were proven. I sold my share, using proceeds to start a small consulting firm for women in construction, empowering them in a male-dominated field. Jack fought dirty in court, claiming I fabricated evidence. But with Mia's testimony, detailing his lies and the pregnancy, he lost credibility. The judge, a stern woman with a Southwest twang, ruled in my favor, full custody of remaining assets, the house, and supervised visitation for Tyler, who'd sided with me after learning the truth. Jack faced probation for minor embezzlement charges, ordered to pay child support for Mia's baby too. One afternoon, as monsoon clouds gathered, Jack showed up at the house, violation of the restraining order I'd filed.
Laura.
"Please," he begged through the screen door. Rain starting to patter. "I messed up. Let's talk." I recorded it, calm as ever. "Too late.
Jack.
You chose this path." He left defeated, but his plea lingered. Was there room for forgiveness? Not yet. But maybe a lesson. Mia gave birth to a boy, little Ethan, in a Phoenix hospital. I visited, holding him as she rested. "He's innocent in this," I said. She smiled weakly. "So were we. We decided to co-parent loosely, holidays together for the kid's sake, showing Tyler a half-brother. It wasn't easy. Old wounds stung, but we focused on healing. I joined a support group for betrayed spouses, sharing my story under desert stars at bonfire meetings. Revenge feels good short-term, I'd say. But rebuilding? That's power. Jack hit rock bottom, applying for jobs at entry-level sites. Ironically, my new firm hired him, on probation, reporting to me. On his first day, I handed him blueprints. "Prove you can build something honest," I said. He nodded, eyes downcast. It wasn't gloating, it was a chance for redemption. Light on punishment, heavy on growth. As seasons shifted, fall bringing cooler winds, I reflected on the lesson: betrayal shatters. But from fragments, you craft mosaics stronger than before. Mia and I launched Desert Resilience, a nonprofit offering legal aid and counseling for women facing infidelity or divorce. We spoke at community centers, helping others navigate Arizona's laws without the isolation I'd felt. One evening, under a full moon, Mia and I hiked a trail in the Rincon Mountains. Ethan cooed in a carrier. Tyler joined via video call. "Think Jack learned?" she asked. I paused, breathing the sage-scented air. Maybe. But we did. Trust your gut. But lead with heart. It was a light lesson, one that bloomed in the Badlands. With the divorce finalized, life in Tucson felt like a fresh monsoon wash, clean, renewed, full of potential. The house, now truly mine, got a makeover, fresh paint in earthy tones, new furniture from local artisans, and a garden of native plants that thrived in the heat. Tyler came home more, helping with projects, his bond with me unbreakable. "Mom, you're a badass," he'd say, making me laugh. Jack's probation meant community service at a habitat build, ironic for a former contractor. He reached out sporadically, apologies laced with regret. I was a fool, Laura. Lost sight of what mattered. I listened, but boundaries held firm. Arizona's family courts encouraged mediation for co-parenting, so we attended sessions. There, under neutral fluorescent lights, truths emerged, his midlife crisis, pressures from work. It humanized him, but didn't excuse. Actions have consequences, the mediator said. Jack nodded, committing to therapy. Mia and I grew closer, like sisters forged in the forge. Ethan toddled around my yard, chasing lizards, while we planned workshops for desert resilience. We cover topics like spotting gaslighting, red flags in relationships, and financial independence, crucial in community property states. One session, a woman shared her story mirroring mine. We connected her with Rita. "You're saving lives," Mia whispered. But healing wasn't linear. Nightmares of the affair haunted me, doubts creeping like shadows at dusk. I started journaling again, not evidence, but reflections. Forgiveness isn't forgetting, it's freeing yourself. A light lesson, but profound. Jack surprised us by volunteering at our nonprofit, anonymous at first, then openly. "I want to make amends," he said at a meeting. Skeptical, I watched. He shared his side humbly, warning men about ego's pitfalls. It sparked discussions, turning our group co-ed. One Christmas, under twinkling lights on my porch, we gathered Tyler,
Mia,
Ethan, even Jack, supervised. No romance rekindled, just civil sharing of tamales and stories. Ethan called me Aunt Laura, melting walls. "This is weird, but good," Tyler admitted. It taught us, families evolve, shaped by choices, not blood alone. My firm thrived, landing contracts for eco-friendly builds. Jack rose through ranks honestly, earning respect. "Thanks for the chance," he said one day. I smiled. Earn it every day. The humane ending? Not total ruin, but growth. Jack paid restitutions, supported Ethan fully. We all learned. Revenge scorches, but compassion rebuilds. As spring wildflowers blanketed the desert, I stood atop a hill, wind in my hair. The Badlands stretched endless, resilient.
So was I.
Years blurred like heat waves on asphalt, but the core lesson stuck, from betrayal's ashes. Humanity rises. Tucson became my anchor, its vast skies reminding me of possibilities. Desert resilience expanded, partnering with Arizona Legal Aid for statewide impact. Mia ran ops, I focused on outreach, speaking at conferences about equitable divorce laws and emotional recovery. Jack transformed quietly, therapy, sobriety, mentoring at-risk youth in construction trades. He remarried eventually, a kind woman who knew his past. We coexisted peacefully, sharing grandparent duties when Tyler started a family. Ethan grew into a bright kid, calling us his bonus moms. Family barbecues became tradition, laughter echoing where pain once lingered. One summer, under a canopy of stars, Mia and I reflected by a campfire. "Remember the gala?" she asked. I nodded. Felt like justice then. Now, it was the spark for better. The light lesson: hold accountable, but offer paths to redemption. It fosters healing, prevents cycles. My story inspired a book, Badlands Betrayal, Reclaiming Your Path, proceeds funding our nonprofit. Readers wrote, "You showed me strength and forgiveness." Jack even endorsed it anonymously. In the end, the western sun set on old grudges, rising on new horizons. I walked the trails alone sometimes, grateful for the journey. Betrayal tested me, humanity saved me. And in the American West's vast embrace, I found peace.